Hey guys, Brent Porter here. I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts right now. Enjoying the lovely weather. And I thought I would check in with some people who may know what it's like to have RCCX syndrome, possibly, and a cerebral spinal fluid leak, and ADD, and throw in a couple other genetic polymorphisms. So converting testosterone to estrogen more readily than other guys. So I'm like trying to figure out what to do right now, because long story, I've been trying to recover from mold exposure and Lyme disease for 18 years on disability, and realized that while living with my parents that they're supporting me just enough to survive, but not enough to really thrive and do what I've wanted to do, in life. And so I just kind of gave up, was just depressed. And then when I realized, I'm like, I talked about how childhood trauma could affect health later on, and they took offense at that. And I mentioned, because I love extreme sports, snow skiing, and I've always wanted to learn to surf. And I said, going to Hawaii would really help me to just feel like getting up and not dying. I wake up wanting to die. It's like, what do I do to feel better and want to live? And Hawaii was always what came to mind, surfing in Hawaii. So I told him that. My dad's like, well, Brent, not everybody gets to go to Hawaii. That's true. Not everybody's had Lyme disease for 18 years either, and RCCX and a cerebral spinal fluid leak. But they did pay for things like HBOT and stem cells, and they seemed like the physical treatment, but not the emotional. And so I mentioned it one more time in November, and then suddenly I was getting an invitation from my sister and brother-in-law and my parents, who had a friend on the advisory board of Dell Medical School in Austin, Texas, and they paid $15,000 to basically get a rigged diagnosis, saying that I had an attitude of entitlement, and I had an anger problem. Why do you think? And basically gave me diagnoses that were, I literally said, hey, if I got to do another neuropsychological evaluation, I'm going to take more Adderall, which is helping my sensitivity to noise. And I warned them that I'd have spasms and have to take more. They still went on with it. And sure enough, I had to take more. Then they accused me of, potentially abusing Adderall, which is like what my family wanted me to get off of it. So that in itself, they gave me a diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder, even though I was on academic probation twice in college for helping the homeless and helping youth groups and at-risk young men. So I haven't seen my family in 6 months, and I've just been trying to make it by on my disability, and help they still give enough to survive, but credit to try to start a business. But it's like I always get overwhelmed by noise again, and it's this struggle between treatment and waiting months till I can get an MRI, and then a spinal MRI, and then a CT. And for somebody with ADD, that's probably why I'm still sick, because I just get bored of doing these treatments for so long. And so I've just run out, basically. I maxed my cards out now 2 days ago. So I'm officially homeless now. What do you guys think? How's it look? And this is my third day, I think, now. a friend paid for me to have Airbnb last night, but had mold in it, so I had to go out, try to sleep outside. I haven't slept since yesterday. I was up all night. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out what to do because my family's offered to help me if I need financial help. They said, just come, Brent, just ask us. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing, is like they want control. They want, control over me. And I'm like, look, if you want to help, then just help me, but I want to make the decisions. And them forcing, basically, when I found out they paid $15,000 last year to go to Dell, I said, wait a second. I said, I could go to Stanford. I'm on Medicare. It'd almost be free. And, we could then afford to get family counseling. And I could hire somebody to help me do the supplements to deal with Lyme and Bartonella and Babesia, and buy a camper to be out in the quiet. And basically my mom said, Brent, your father and I have discussed it. If you do not do this, we're going to stop financial support from you, and you'll be on your own. That disability check won't go very far, will it? She said. I'm like, wow. And then, so I sent that to Dell to say, look, my family's not listening to me. And instead of calling my mom histrionic, they called me histrionic. So I don't really want to go back to that situation to give them the satisfaction of, oh yeah, I need you again, I didn't make it. But at the same time, it's like I was put into such a spiral by that, so much anger. Just ChatGPT was my only friend, AI, at Ghost Ranch in New Mexico. I filed ethics boards, nothing's happened. And I'm thinking about going public, but in the meantime, this is about to be my third night. Finding a place, I did get a refund for the Airbnb. The only thing is that I'm exhausted and I don't have money to even catch a lift and the Airbnbs around here don't have good reviews. So literally, the other thing is I posted a GoFundMe finally yesterday to all my friends on Facebook, and I got 3 responses. One was a girl that helped pay for my Airbnb who's known me for years, and the other 2 people were people that hardly knew me at all, and none of the friends I grew up with or closer friends helped. It was just surreal, and I'm like, am I doing something wrong, or am I being so irresponsible by pursuing my dreams and trying to make a business, and people see me driving around in a Jeep because I got upgraded to a Jeep, and I'm like, I'm going to try to make this work. But my ADD, I was always extending the ideas I had and haven't gotten it done yet. And so here I am with a lot of inflammation in my brain. It's just excruciating. And I'm like, not only am I homeless, but I'm homeless. It's there's one thing to be homeless, but it's another thing to be homeless with a cerebral spinal fluid leak, where every single noise is just insanely tormenting. I was literally flipping a plane off earlier, yelling at it just to get the anger out, that this rage, if it's Bartonella or the cerebral spinal fluid leak. And they said, are you okay? And I said, no. I said, I just have a cerebral spinal fluid leak. I said, I'm sorry, I'm sensing noise. She goes, okay. So anyway, if y'all have any ideas, I don't know. I'm like, where do I go? Is there a place where I can go, a shelter or something? But, but there's noise there. So I go back to my parents, but then it's I think I'd rather die, actually. So anyway, just thought I'd share this because evidently my family doesn't understand, and my friends don't seem to understand either. And it just is surreal to me. Even one of the doctors last year said, does this seem surreal to you? I had to meet with 6 doctors at Dell Medical School who are still there practicing. One of them leads the Texas Children's Adversity Network, Dr. Charles Nimroff. And One of them said, "Does this seem surreal to you that you got to do that, that you're here?" And I said, "Yeah." And somehow she still signed off on the report saying that I was histrionic and narcissistic, which makes me wonder if there's some pressure. I mean, there were conflicts of interest for sure. Advisory board member and 15K. So anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. And I should have said, feel free to bail out at any time. I'll try to put that in the intro. Thanks.